Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, or even to 8, for you do not know what evil may come upon the earth. Solomon encourages generous risk and investment in benevolence. The term bread may refer to grain for trade or seed sown in floodwaters. The number 7 or 8 implies going beyond the expected measure of generosity to protect against unpredictable evil or calamity. In the biblical era, merchants cast bread by sending grain ships across the Mediterranean, waiting months for a return. Today, we see this in investment diversification or supporting multiple charities. We don't put all our eggs in one basket because we recognize that our personal 401k, retirement annuity, or digital status can vanish in a sudden market crash or social upheaval. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves on the earth, and if a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where the tree falls, there it will lie. Koheleth observes that natural events are certain to happen, but their specific outcomes, like where a tree lands, are random and irreversible from a human perspective. Nature moves in indifferent cycles. Ancient people lived in direct submission to the weather and the timber of the land. Modern society often suffers from the hubris of thinking technology can master time and the environment. Solomon reminds us that some crooked events simply cannot be made straight by human effort. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. This is a warning against procrastination. If a person waits for perfect conditions, a specific breeze to scatter seed or cloudless sky for harvest, they will never accomplish anything. The ancient farmer faced literal starvation if he waited too long for the perfect day. Today, we face analysis paralysis, spending months researching a business plan or waiting for the perfect market before taking action, only to find the opportunity has vanished like vapor. As you do not know the way the Spirit comes to the bones in the womb of a woman with child, so you do not know the work of God who makes everything. Solomon points to the miracle of life to emphasize human ignorance of God's overall plan. We cannot decode the why or when of God's work from beginning to end. Biblical people viewed embryonic development as a divine secret. Even with 4K ultrasounds and DNA sequencing, modern science still cannot explain the spark of consciousness or the providential timing of life's events, forcing us to trade our desire for control for humble trust. In the morning sow your seed, and at evening withhold not your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, this or that, or whether both alike will be good. Because the future is uncertain, the wise person is industrious at all times. One should work diligently without demanding to know which specific effort will yield a profit. Ancient farmers worked from dawn until the evening torches were lit. In our present era, this translates to the side hustle and consistent effort in multiple vocational callings, recognizing that only God determines which seed ultimately prospers. Light is sweet, and it is pleasant for the eyes to see the sun. So if a man lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. All that comes is vanity. The preacher acknowledges the simple blessing of being alive. However, he balances this with the reality that dark days of trial, aging, and death are inevitable. Biblical life was often short and physically harsh. Today, we often curate sunlit digital feeds that ignore suffering. Yet Solomon warns us that ignoring the house of mourning or the days of darkness keeps our wisdom shallow and unprepared for the hivil or fleeting nature of life. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Remove vexation from your heart, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. Youth is a gift and the dawn of life, but it is also vanity because it is temporary. Solomon calls for a joy that is balanced by an awareness of divine accounting. Modern YOLO, you only live once, culture often promotes consequence-free hedonism. Ecclesiastes argues for the opposite. Live life to the hilt, because you only live once, but do so with reverence, knowing that every action today is an investment in a future judgment. Remove vexation from your heart, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 10. Subscribe and join us for the final video in this series, Ecclesiastes chapter 12.